Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of JakesTake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, before we get started, if you're watching this interview on YouTube, please give us a subscribe and also a thumbs up. If you're listening to our audio portion, please give us a 5-star review and also please subscribe to the podcast. I'm very excited today because we got the director of an incredible movie called We Need to Talk Here. So please help me welcome Todd Wolfe to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Jacob. I'm glad to be here. That was a wonderfully exciting intro. Thank you very much.
You are so welcome, Todd. Thank you so much for taking time to schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
All right, so let's get started. So when did you first get interested in film? And how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the entertainment industry?
That's a good one. Well, I started in the hip hop business, producing records and working with different record labels. I worked at Rough House Records with like the Fugees and Lauryn Hill, and but then I basically kind of transitioned into music video at that point. And I was like, oh, I like this better. I mean, I kind of did music video in college, and I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. But then I really caught the bug kind of in the music video realm, and then got sucked into some other projects, and it's been downhill ever since, or uphill depending on how you see it. But it was music videos that kind of got me hooked, and I think being introduced to Final Cut way back when, because I don't want to age myself too much, but I learned to edit on tape to tape at college, and I was like, yeah, this is terrible. I never want to do this again. And then when I got into that nonlinear, I was like, oh yeah, this could be fun. And everything happened, and everything else was history.
That's pretty cool because I gotta say I used Final Cut when I was at the University of Colorado Boulder for my news team Boulder and also for Sports Mech. So I know what you're feeling over there. It was a tough process.
Very much so. Very much so.
And and also what I found incredible was like you worked with Fugees and Lauryn Hill. Was it during their rise?
I came on. I was working there '97, so the score was huge at that point. Wyclef's "The Carnival" was out at that point, and I was probably one of the first people to hear Lauryn Hill's album when the DAT tapes started coming in at the time. So yeah, it was an incredible time to be there. But it was one of those things that, showed me kind of what was possible in the creative space. And then when I kind of found my calling with the music videos, I just kind of ran with it. But yeah, it seems like a million years ago, but that was a very interesting phase of my life. And it was a great opportunity. Shout out Chris Schwartz from Rough House and Joe Nicolo, to where I got the opportunity to kind of see what was possible in the creative space from very talented people, and still striving for that myself.
I'm glad you got that opportunity because music videos I think are a lot of people remember or also lead a lot of people to the entertainment industry, like anywhere from Thriller to Bad to Smooth Criminal or Black or White to Britney's Oops I Did It Again and Baby One More Time. Those music videos could really help getting people into film and into the possibility of working on films or television shows.
For sure. And as a filmmaker, I feel like I always liked music videos because it always allowed me to play with a new toy or try a new style, or just a new trick or a new editing plugin or software or whatever the case may be. Like, it always allowed me that extra time or that chance to just throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. And I feel like, my style has been a culmination of a couple of things that stuck on the wall.
That's pretty cool. And we got to transition into We Need to Talk. And can you describe the film to my audience?
Sure. We Need to Talk follows Great Scott Gamer, who is a celebrity video gamer. And he's a bit full of himself. He's a big deal, and he knows it. And unfortunately, he cares more about his fan base and his brand than he does his girlfriend and his friends and the people in his personal life. And that really catches up to him when his girlfriend, before she leaves for the day, says, "We need to talk," when she gets home. And that sends him kind of spiraling out of control and, into a bit of self discovery that I think, we're all faced with all of our online lives and sometimes putting our work before the people we love people we love and care about. I'm guilty of it. There's certainly plenty of things injected into this script that, I'm guilty of in terms of that work-life balance. So, it's a little bit of that, but it's also a love of gaming. I'm a gamer myself, and it's a love of that for sure. And, and I worked with a YouTuber for many, many, many years, Jared Polin from FroKnowsPhoto, if anybody is a photographer out there. And it always amazed me, the two worlds and the two personalities on camera and off camera. Jacob, as I'm sure in terms of your one personality on camera and one personality maybe with your mom or whoever, you know what I mean? It's different pockets, and sometimes people get lost in the online personality, and that's kind of what we explore in the movie.
I definitely think, and I've got to be guilty of saying this, and I've been trying to struggle with work-life balance as well. It's also trying to get with different brands and making sure I still have enough time for support with my loved ones and everything. So I totally get you there, and I totally get there. And I gotta say, it must have been very interesting coming from following that YouTuber and bringing that experience of working with him into the film.
Oh yeah, I mean, people that follow him, and he used to have a podcast called Raw Talk that I was involved in, and I was probably just comedy relief at that point. I was in an improv group, and I'm pretty silly, as you could probably see from the film. And people that follow him and have followed his videos, they'll see a lot of inspiration, I'll say, in the film from him, as well as other influencers and other things that I've kind of picked up along the way. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation. I took him out to lunch, and I was like, "Hey man, you probably want to look at this script because you'll probably find some familiar things." And luckily, he was like, "I love it, do it." He's like, "It's great." So it's been a fun journey, and he's actually makes a cameo appearance in the film and some of his swag and all that stuff. So it's kind of come full circle. For those that know him, there's a bit of him in there, and then it kind of just turned up to 25, not even 11, turned up to 25, just out of control.
Which is way off the Richter scale.
Yeah. He's definitely not as bad as Great Scott is, but it's a lot more fun to be bad.
Absolutely. So we gotta talk about the cast. The film stars a lot of familiar faces to a lot of pop culture fans. You have James Maslow from Big Time Rush and Celebrity Big Brother. You have Emily Bett Rickards from Arrow. You have Johnathan Hernandez from HBO Max Gossip Girl and TV's Lethal Weapon. You also have Chaney from HBO's We Own This City. So what drew you and your team to these actors?
Well, Trey, I wrote the part for. I worked with Trey on a film that I did with Meek Mill called Streets that we sold to BET. And again, that's kind of like my music industry past life meeting this feature film life in the middle somewhere. So we did that movie with him. I met Trey on that set, and we stayed in touch for years and years and years. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. I love him to death. We were just trading texts about what we're going to wear to the premiere. So I love him. And so I wrote it for him, and I just said, "Hey man, this is you." And he's like, "Done. Say no more. I'm there." The other folks, James, Emily, Johnathan, and Christel from Young and the Restless. The four of them submitted audition tapes to our casting director, and they just nailed it. They were everything I wanted them to be. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Great Scott Gamer, I assumed would be a slob like myself. And I was like, man, James is really, really pretty. I don't know if this is going to work. I watched his audition, and I was like, that's spot on. I was like, that is spot on. And then I kind of realized, I think fans if you're a fan of Big Time Rush, I think you will appreciate kind of the humor and the character who he is. He's different, but the humor is not terribly far off. But at the same time, I challenged him in some more of the dramatic areas to kind of like stretch and kind of be a little bit more. The character kind of called for it, and he stepped up and really did it well. And then Emily is just the best, and we just try to stay out of her way and keep up when I called action. So she was wonderful as well. Everybody was great. It was one big it was like a family atmosphere. Um, so I'm really looking forward to for everybody to see all the hard work and effort that they put into this, because they did a great, wonderful job. I just happened to call action in between.
I love to hear a story. I love to hear about that this was a family atmosphere, and also hearing about how all these people brought in their characters. Like, for example, it's very hard for me not to imagine Emily Bett as Felicity Smoke. It's very hard for me not to imagine James Maslow from his time in the big time, in either Big Time Rush or in a Big Celebrity Big Brother house. So it's very interesting to hear that how all these characters all these actors brought different parts of themselves into the film.
Yeah, they definitely did, and I think they liked that it challenged them. I know Emily really liked her character because she used to call her hot garbage. And she's just like, I love that she has no filter. And I think they probably were really interested in doing something different. And James has told the story that he had 3 scripts sent to him by his agent, and it was like one was an action movie and another one was an action movie, and then he's like, there was this comedy. He's like, oh, I'm definitely gonna do the action movies. And they're like, oh, you should read the comedy. They're like, you probably will like that. Read them all, and he's read We Need to Talk, and he's like, yeah, that's me. And his audition tape speaks for itself. So maybe one of these days I'll put out a clip of that, because his what you see on camera is kind of what he gave me. I was just smart enough to like pick the people and be like, yeah, do that, do that, do that, do that again. So they were wonderful. I can't praise them enough.
Well, here, I know you brought FroKnowsPhoto. I got to go back to him because, in addition to FroKnowsPhoto, you also brought, because we didn't need to talk, also features cameos from gamers and influencers such as, and I apologize to everyone who's watching this or listening to this if I butcher your username, but Clementinator, Dub.Dubby, Secret_Leon Gids, GlitterXplosion, HipHopGamer, and Alex ER. So how did their involvement help advance the film?
When we went into the film, I mean, as a gamer myself, I wanted there to be a bit of authenticity. I wanted to blur the line in terms of James being a part of that culture, about being a part of that community, and I wanted to make sure that it was represented. And we were just really lucky enough that we reached out to these folks, and they were down to kind of do a cameo for us and really lend their authenticity to the project. Whether it be Hip Hop Gamer or Team Secrets, bunch of guys that came through, or Dubby or GlitterXplosion. Yeah, I mean, they were just really kind enough to kind of lend their likeness and their authenticity to it, because that was really important to me. I mean, like I said, I'm a gamer, and I wanted to make sure I was respectful to the culture and to the folks out there that live and breathe that every day. Not just make fun of them. Like, Scott's an idiot, but there's real legitimate people that are wonderful people that make a good living playing games and teaching people about games and having a blast at what they do. And I wanted to respect that.
And I'm glad you did. I'm very excited to watch this film. It sounds like you had a lot of incredible time working on the film. So do you have any specific highlights of We Need to Talk from the We Need to Talk filming process?
I mean, the filming process, I would say, I mean, look, we spent, shoot, we shot for 20 days. I would say a good 12 of those days was in that apartment.
Wow.
So we spent a lot of time in Scott's apartment just because of the nature of the film, and the challenge of finding, new ways to film it and shoot it and keep it excited and keep the camera moving was a challenge. I think probably one of the funniest things that people may not realize is that every gamer that's playing, as they're talking to the other person. So he's playing, he's talking to this character or that character. He's literally talking to me, doing all the voices. So it's me doing this character in this character's voice, what I think they'll do in this character's voice. So he acted with me for 5 days.
Wow.
And I mean, it was very challenging, I'm sure, for him and the rest of the actors that kind of had to play off of me because it's basically like it's like shooting a big telephone call for the most part. You got 5 people gaming, talking to each other. They weren't all in the same room at the same time. That was on me to kind of do my best impersonation of each of those characters. And that's what I think was ridiculous, was me doing all these characters. And then I'd call cut and I'd turn around and the crew would be laughing at me, being this character or that character. And, we had a lot of fun. And James was a trooper about it. He was a trooper and he definitely embraced the process.
This sounds like if you ever bring into DVD or streaming, that you guys have a lot of bonus features.
There is, and I will say, in terms of bonus features, there's not on the digital premiere that we're going to do on the 12th, which I'm sure we'll talk about. There's actually a cut scene, a deleted scene. There's some outtakes, some bloopers. But the one thing I will say is there's a lot of Easter eggs in this film. Not only in terms of the game stuff that you may see in the background and set dressing, that's pretty standard. But on his screens and in his comments on his channel or anything like that, that is packed full of Easter eggs with different characters and different gaming things and different movies and different homages to different things. There's certainly homages to certain John Hughes films and dialogue, and there's a ton of Easter eggs in the movie. So I'm certainly looking forward to people getting their hands on it and kind of freeze framing and looking at all the dumb things that are on Great Scott's comments that we slaved over and people probably won't see as it's up there for seconds, but they're there if you care to find them.
Awesome. So what are you looking forward to the most of my audience, or seeing our audiences everywhere watching We Need to Talk?
I think I'm just excited for folks to have a good laugh. It's a lot of serious things going on nowadays. We've all been through a lot the last couple of years. And it's fun to just kind of sit back, relax, have a laugh, go on a little fun journey with these characters and enjoy yourself. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to. Giving people a break from everyday life and a break from the news maybe, and just watch a silly movie and enjoy it.
Awesome. So second last question. Why should my audience watch We Need to Talk?
Why should they watch it? Well, you know what? Again, beyond the escapism, let's put a pin in that. I think if you're a fan of just comedy in general, or maybe rom-coms or coming of age films, this is definitely. I've heard people describe it as like a character study, but with a funny bone, and I think that's really interesting. It's a day in a life journey of who knows, maybe your favorite influencer that you watch on YouTube. Like, you don't know what goes on, when the cameras are off. You don't know what happens to Jacob when the cameras are off, what he's dealing with. Same with Great Scott, and you get to see behind the camera. And there's a lot of things that I've put on screen that I don't think I've ever been on camera before, or you've ever seen in the movies before. So hopefully it'll be interesting, exciting, and give people a laugh.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So first of all, where can they find this We Need to Talk? And also, if you're on social media, where can they connect with you?
So they can find the movie at weneedtotalkmovie.com. You can watch it, depending on when this comes out. May 12th is the online premiere, which everybody can watch and join and watch with the cast and crew and interact with and stuff like that. On May 13th, we're doing a premiere here in Philadelphia with a limited amount of VIP tickets for fans that we're making available. And then on the 13th as well, it'll be available on streaming platforms and all the VOD places you frequent. So you'll be able to check it out from the comfort of your couch on May 13th as well. So lots of places. I'm looking forward to people seeing it, and if you like it, tell me. You can find me at I am Todd Wolfe, Wolf with an E. I am Todd Wolfe at social media in general, and if you don't like it, my name's Jacob.
All right, Todd. Thank you so much. So,
You're
guys, if you
welcome.
missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our Apple Podcast, Deezer, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker pages. They're all there. It's Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Todd, just to let you know, this is my 11th year of jakes-take.com, my platform. So,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, guys, if you want to check out articles, interviews, reviews, head to jakes-take.com. I really appreciate it. And, guys, if you're financially able to, please consider heading to PayPal to help keep jakes-take.com up and running. If you guys are financially able to, that'd be great. Otherwise, a good alternative is to subscribe to this podcast and follow me on social media. Todd, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. And also, thank you so much for the laughs. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jacob.
All right, Todd. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.